Hi everybody, welcome to the Health Shoppe Niagara, located here at White Oaks. This is our first podcast of many where we're going to be discussing topics from health to motivation to mental stress, anything in life and society that may bring somebody down. Here at the Health Shoppe, we're about live, laugh, and love. You live through the supplementations here. You laugh through how you feel, your spirit, and you love through your spirit. If everything isn't connected in one, you suffer through life. So my name's Tom. I'm one of the team players here. I'm going to introduce Steph. She's also one of the team players here at the Health Shoppe. And take it away, Steph.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, my name is Stephanie, and I'm an integrative health practitioner. I studied functional medicine and functional medicine testing because for me, I had my own journey and my own story of, hitting life hard at rock bottom and then trying to build yourself back up. So it's been, interestingly enough, this place, the White Oaks, was one of the very first places that I came to when I started to just kind of build the pieces back to my life. Refocus, start to do something for myself, get into health, get into fitness, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. So here I am today.
You brought
I'm
up
an expert.
You brought up a key point, a story. I think everybody in life has a story to tell, and I think everybody out there can benefit from somebody's story. It doesn't matter what the story is. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You could just be some person, like you said, that struggled through life, that overcame, adapted, and they are where they are today because they had that story. They were able to push on, and push through it.
Absolutely. We all come to this world and we all have a story. Every single one of us. The story is actually a huge part of how I help people, because it's through our story that we find actually our struggles, our pains, but also our healing.
That's right.
It's through story.
100%.
And as you're branding yourself, as you're growing a business, as you're creating something else to help others, to inspire others, your message is actually in your own story. So I always try to draw that story out of people.
So for today's first podcast, we decided that we were going to study me as a case study because my health is, maybe isn't where it should be, and I think Stephanie can help me a lot through the problems that are going on in my life right now. So today we'll do the intake of my history, and then as we progress through the podcast, you'll see my transition from whom I am now into somebody else.
And that's a good point about the intake and telling your story, because in natural health, and I just want to kind of put a disclaimer, is that I am a natural health practitioner. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a licensed doctor, so I do not treat, cure, or diagnose disease. So
but you can order blood work and you can read blood work.
I can order what we call functional medical lab tests. They're not diagnostic, they're not the same labs that a medical doctor would order to diagnose a disease and give a prescription. So functional medicine lab testing is more about discovering where the body is out of balance in terms of deficiencies as well as toxicities. And that's kind of the whole principle, is that disease cannot live and thrive in a body that doesn't have any toxicity and is fully, has all its vitamins and minerals, okay, at equal or equilibrium levels. So that's kind of what the process is in terms of intake, is that I spend about how much time did I gave you?
The
like
questionnaire
a
she had
load
me
of
fill out was,
paperwork.
oh my God. Which is good though, because people come in here and they say, I have this, I have that, but for me to give, first of all, I'm not a health practitioner, nor do I give diagnosis. When they say I feel this and this, I always say the proper way to find out what is going on with your body is to have blood work taken, sit down with somebody like yourself, do an intake, and then go from there. For me to just come in here, unless the person is an athlete or already knows what they're taking, to start somebody off on taking something I don't think that's the right course of action to take. I think coming to a person like yourself and having them discuss their problems, doing a course of blood work, is probably the better. Would
It's
you
a
agree?
combination of the two. We need the science, the data, but at the same time, I need the story. I need you to fill out the forms. I need you to say, okay, here's there's probably 100 questions that you filled out on the form, because just in conversation, you're not going to tell me all of the deep, dark stuff that you're really suffering with.
Your deep,
because
dark
sometimes
secrets.
we don't want to admit, it's like, oh yeah, good point. I have this, I have that. And then when you add it all up, you have a bigger picture, a bigger story of how to rebalance the symptoms. Because I'm also, not only am I an integrated health practitioner, I do a lot of life coaching, because I don't feel that there's a separation between like health over here, here's the health shop, and then life, because so many things in our life affect our wellness. If in life coaching, you may have heard of the wheel of life, and there's about 12 different sections in a pie, and it's all the slices of our life. You've got your health is one piece, your relationships, your family, your physical environment, your career, wealth, all of these things that make up our life.
It's a balance.
It's a balance. And if, like a wheel, if everything is 10 out of 10, we have a perfect circle. But if our relationship is in the toilet and it's down at a 1, and then our financial situation is really good and our career is really good, but our health is taking a toll, then it's not a wheel that turns. It's not smooth. It's not in balance. So a big part of the story is kind of looking at the bigger picture. We can't always just remove certain things, but we can balance them and come up with strategies and tools that all work together. And that's kind of, in a nutshell, what integrative and holistic health is all about.
100%. If your mind isn't where it's supposed to be, if you're having troubles in this part, it affects your health. You're through deteriorating whatever minerals and vitamins you have in your body, because you're putting such a stress on your body that your body can't overcome that. So you have to fix one part to move on to the next part.
Absolutely. So I was able to kind of identify, okay, this, without lab testing, we haven't run any of the labs yet, but just based on your symptom questionnaires, a lot of people don't have the finances to put out to run all these labs, because they're not covered by our system, our healthcare system, because they are not diagnostic in nature of what a medical doctor would order.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, being in Canada and the province of Ontario, I'll also guide people of how can we use our system, how can we go into our doctor's office and request certain labs, because we can run a lot, and I'm certainly grateful for that.
So you're saying something that you would order for me, that maybe that it's saving the cost, I can go to my healthcare
like your blood
practitioner.
work, for example. I can't draw your blood right here and give you a whole diagnostic. That's something where you would have to get the requisition from your medical doctor, and then also what to ask. Like, oh, can you run this? Can you run that? A lot of times you have to ask and kind of go back.
You have to prompt them.
Yeah, you have to prompt them and probe them. So yeah, it's kind of like being better equipped and empowered to go into your doctor's office and have a conversation about your health.
That's the thing,
They
conversation.
should cooperate.
A lot of
They
people
really
are.
should.
A lot of people are intimidated by their doctor, right? They go there and it's like, I'm going to tell them this, and then get there and they feel like they're a higher authority figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they won't pursue what they were there. You have to be consistent. You know your body better than anybody, right?
Yeah,
and if you keep saying there's something wrong with me, there probably is something wrong with you, right? So yeah, asking the right questions and keep probing and having them run those tests.
Absolutely. So let's kind of go over some of the things that are, because sometimes people say, okay, I have like 100 things that I want to balance. And I always say, like, with anything in life, let's just pick 3 to 5 max. 3 is ideal. And what are some of those, if we could just fix one symptom, if I had the magic powers, that magic silver bullet solution, what would be that one thing that you just want to balance right now, here today?
More energy. I just feel that my energy levels have taxed. I don't know if it's because of the shift work that I do. I forgot to say that my full-time, or my job is I'm a full-time firefighter for a big city near Toronto. And I think being on shift work and everything like that is kind of, it can play a toll on your body. So stress level as well, right?
Absolutely. Honestly, you just have to say that. And it's like, I have so much information right there of how probably stress and the different toxins that you are exposed to at work, the commute, driving there, the shift of the stress on your body in terms of your diurnal rhythm, meaning your sleep cycles, is all over the place.
Yeah, it is. And the commute's the commute. I chose the commute. The stress level of the job definitely brings you down. It shows you how society, the way society functions as a first responder, it affects you drastically, right? So I mean, yeah, maybe if I could fix my energy levels right now, I'd be 100%.
Okay, so we'll focus on energy levels and what ties into energy. There's also some of the things that I noticed on the questionnaires. Intake is, it plays into mood, a bit of depression, lower moods, especially being in an environment in your work where you're dealing with just more negativity. You're seeing a lot of negativity, and it kind of brings your own mood down. We're dealing with energy, we're dealing with fatigue, all of these kind of things. So without, one of the questions is like, well, what lab test would I run in your case? And I would shift right towards, well, obviously it's going to be the thyroid adrenal hormone test to look at your cortisol and to see your diurnal rhythms, because our cortisol, it should spike high in the morning at 6 o'clock a.m. It should be at our highest, where we have the most energy, and then it slowly declines.
Your cortisol levels, they take it in the morning, or if you were to do the test on, which we're going to do, is it a test in the morning or is it a test throughout the day to see where your peaks and valleys are?
It's throughout the day, because if you just take one time period, for example, if you go to your doctor and you just do a quick blood work and they test your cortisol, it's just one time, and it's really not useful to check your diurnal rhythm. So it's actually 4 times a day.
Okay.
And it's done through saliva, and it's one of the most accurate ways to see what this is. And what it kind of boils down to is there's a fatigue in your body. It's called the hypothalamus pituitary axis, and over time, when our body is under so much stress, just through our lifestyle, through your job, there's external stressors, it probably has a toll. I don't know. I haven't had a full conversation about what else is going on in your life besides your job. Maybe it's taking a toll in your relationships, your family dynamic. There's all sorts of things that could be happening that's causing this stress response, and everybody has a different stress response in their body. And there's also internal stress, which could be simply as the stuff from our nutrition. If we are eating foods that we are sensitive to, that's causing an internal stress. If there's an infection or dental work, a root canal, something where there's just a virus of some type, that's an internal stressor. Maybe we're dealing with an imbalanced microbiome where there's an overgrowth of pathogens in your digestive system, and that is feeding that stress response. So we always kind of focus on like the external, the psychological stuff, but there's a lot of just internal stress that is signaling to our brain to release that cortisol.
The cortisol, which a lot of people, cortisol's, if you're diagnosed with low cortisol levels or the peaks and valleys were out of whack, like you were saying, it's pretty much an easy fix through supplementation, correct?
Yes and no. To fix the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis or adrenal fatigue actually is one of the most time-consuming processes, because you have to because it's years and years. It doesn't just happen overnight.
But it's something through being directed in the proper way. I guess what I'm getting at is some people have bad cortisol levels, they're suffering through peaks and valleys. What do? They go to the drugstore, they buy like a sleeping pill, or they turn to alcohol to sleep at night now, or drugs, or now you're spinning out of control. Whereas opposed to if you had it properly checked, like you were saying, you would maybe be pointed in the right course, as opposed to now you're throwing your body out of whack with this, you're throwing your body out of whack with that because you can't sleep, and you think sleeping aids at night are going to help you sleep, but then in effect the sleeping aids can cause dementia or whatever they do. So it's a complete spin, right?
It is. It's exactly that. It's a complete spin, and that's what we call the maladaptive coping strategies of stress, where we turn to alcohol or, like you said, drugs or whatever, and the pharmaceuticals, and it's that short-term relief, but it has a long-term pain effect over time. So it doesn't help at all. So yeah, how do we begin? Because again, like, we can jump over to chapter 20 and,
and
fix your cortisol, or we can start at chapter 1, and really it's about looking at the foundations. What are some of the foundational supplements? Because again, supplements are a tool. It's just one thing that we can use that's going to help us get healthy.
You mentioned that people do skip a whole chapter, and I think that's what happens. People skip that chapter and go right to fix it, as opposed to diagnosing.
Let's focus on this.
It's time. People don't want to put in the time and effort. People want a quick fix like that, right? So, 100%. Yeah. So I'm ready to fix me.
So some of the lifestyle aspects of what we think we're being healthy, but we're actually spiking up that cortisol response, or the lack of. Now I don't know what stage you're in. There's a few different, there's like 3 stages to this. There's levels of everything, where you could be having really, really high cortisol, which I doubt it, because you're feeling more fatigue and low energy, and like, I just want to take a nap. That's more of the low cortisol, where you're in more of the exhaustion phase. So sometimes people wake up, and we talked a little bit about the goals of losing weight and getting healthier eating, because that's all part of it. So where am I going with this is that as sometimes people go fast for really long stretches of time, and they'll take coffee, and that's one of the worst things that we can do when we have this adrenal fatigue, because it's sending that signal to the body. We're in fight, we're in flight, we're in famine, and it's just crashing us even more. So if we're going to fast, we're going to do 12 overnight fasts to give your digestive system a break. We're going to get on a whole foods diet for the next 30 days.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And that's the thing, like, we need to have that cooperation. If I give you the protocol, are you going to stick with it?
I have to, yes. I want to get better. How many times do you find that you develop the protocol for them, and what would be the percentage that people stick with it, and people are like, oh, I fell off the wagon, and I'll restart again, right? And
that's the thing, is that we have to know what is the why? How bad do you want this? So part of it is, here's the nutrition plan, here's your foundational supplements, we get you on a multivitamin, a B vitamin that's going to help your energy, B vitamins, and we'll take that earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe an adrenal energy support, adaptogens that are going to boost your energy, but then later on in the day, we're going to give you something like magnesium, maybe natural coffee for bed, to get you into that
normal rhythm.
Okay. And then sometimes being on a shift work style is that you kind of have to simulate and fake your environment to kind of catch back. I mean, it's not optimal, but you've got to live within your circumstances, right? So that's kind of the health side of things.
It's adapting to your circumstances.
And then on the why, the life part, I always get, one of the first things I do for homework is I give you an exercise about getting clear on our values and our why of like, why change? Why bother with all of this? Because we need to have a certain commitment going forward.
But your why should be, if you don't change, you're just on a steady decline to
What's your why?
What's my why?
It comes deep, and this is maybe not something that you're going to answer today, because sometimes it's about really searching about what next. You know, it's like, I don't want to be tired. I see all these references even in my family of the discrepancy that we live in our elderly years. I don't want to be like that.
My why is what I see on the job. I see constant, not whys on the job, constant, people that maybe if they would have straightened their life out or taken advice from somebody like yourself, it would be a better lifestyle for them. So my why is to live a happy and healthy life as long as I can, because we're only here for a not very long time, and why you suffer at an early age from disease when you really don't have to, when you could take that why, this is my why, and I want to change my life, I want to make myself better so I can enjoy my life with my family and kids and enjoy everything, all the beautiful things that life has to offer, as opposed to being somebody that maybe destroyed my life because of my eating habits, because of maybe my cortisol levels were off, and then I've taken some sort of sleeping aid to sleep, I've turned to alcohol to help me. So I mean, that's the why in itself for me, and I think that should be the why for most people. Like you're given this life, why not live this life to the best of your ability through body, mind, and spirit? And if your body's crippled, and because you caused it, for lack of a better word, because of the way you lived it, fix it. So that's my why. I want to live life. I want to live it to the fullest. I want to be full of energy. I want to enjoy life, because there's so many things out there that I love to do, and not being able to enjoy something that I want to do because I've let my body deteriorate when it could have been, approaching somebody like yourself and sitting down and fixing, what the problem is, I wouldn't be in this state. So, and that would be my why. I think that would be a lot of people's why.
I think sometimes we have to be in enough, that's another point, is we have to be in enough pain to want to get out of that pain and make changes. So that's kind of where I would say is the values exercise, is getting really clear on, at the core, like what are those core values that we can't live without? Like you said, live, laugh, love. Those may be some of your core values. And why is that important? Is because it's our internal compass. It's our navigation system that basically guides us through life. It's the people we're friends with, the businesses that we do, the jobs that we do, all the things that we say yes to, essentially. And if we're off, if we're not clear on any of that, we're just kind of like banging through life. We're not really living at our core.
You're coasting.
Spirit. Yeah, coasting in comfort zone.
So what's the next part of my intake?
So your challenge, I guess, is I'm gonna give you a little bit of the soul searching exercise to get clear on your values.
We're gonna do that right now, right?
We've got, here's the homework. I was a former classroom teacher for a decade, so I'm not short of handouts. So first of all, we're gonna start with this, and there's a whole whack of words there. And basically you want to narrow it down to 3, max 4 of your top values where you can't live without them. So one of mine is truth, and there's a few different words on there, like authenticity, integrity, but you want to pick the top word that is your value.
I'm looking at this list right now. If I could, what she just gave me was a list of what are your 3 top core values, and like Stephanie said, there's a bunch of words here that describe what's important to you. One of the ones that really stuck out here that I think is really important to me is strength. You know, strength as a human being, strength to overcome and over adapt. So I think that would be my number one, because if I don't have the strength even to fix my wife, for example, then it doesn't work for me. Just going through this briefly, there's a whole bunch: stability, security, harmony in life. You know, harmony with your family, harmony in supplementation, harmony, balance of life. I guess that would be my next one, and then peace. Peace, right? If you're not at peace with yourself, and you're not content or happy with where you are, you're always
fighting against yourself.
100%.
Yeah. Peace comes up a lot in my work with people, because it's like so many people struggle with themselves and their own performance, and just coming to peace with the day. We have this, so much of the stress is like self-inflicted stress, and the dialogue going on in our heads. So peace is a huge one.
But if I don't have strength, I don't have peace.
Yeah.
Because right, the strength will make me a stronger person, which will make me at peace with myself. So I'll take this home, and we went through it now, and I think those are the three important ones to me.
And then the other side of kind of like the life coaching part of it is to cultivate a strong practice of visualization. So I don't know if you have a vision board.
100%.
100%, obviously, clearly.
I think vision is, and I'm not to step back, but vision, vision is it took me a long time to get the job that I was after.
Right.
It took me almost 10 years, and through countless applications and vision, had the laser surgery on my eyes, but it was always this vision. You know where you wanted to be, and I always wanted to be there, right? And I think that's important in life, is that you have to have, like you were saying, a visual board, because sometimes through life you get distracted, you lose your vision, but if it's there in your face staring at you, you know what I mean? Some people write it down on the like you said, a board, and tape it to their fridge.
And there's even what I would take a step further is actually having a daily practice. Maybe it's the first thing in the morning or in the evening, is really kind of I guess people call it daydreaming.
It's like a meditation?
Where you actually, it's a kind of a meditation where you're actually, let's just use an example of, like, say, oh, I want this car. So you actually see yourself, but you really visualize yourself, like you can feel the interior, you have your hands on the steering wheel, and like whatever, all the sensations, and you're really embodying that vision.
But you engrave that in your subconscious.
You start to feel it, and you start to believe it, that no, this is actually, I can see myself in this car. Like, that's just one example, but starting to, maybe it's the house that you want to live in, or the neighborhood that you want to move to, or the job that you want to do. Like, literally seeing yourself doing that and showing up.
So that would be engraved, that would be instilled in your subconscious. So you're actually doing it, you're thinking about it when you're not physically trying to think about it, if that makes sense. Right? I believe in that.
And then I call it narrow the gap. Between the life you're living now versus the life that you want to be living. And I use the Instagram, the 9 boxes, because everybody's on Instagram. It's kind of a modern take on the vision board. So if you take a snapshot of, this is a handout, where you take a snapshot of 9 boxes and take an honest picture of what does your life look like today versus the life that your vision board, and how wide is that gap? Because I always say is live it now. Be that vision board. You don't have to wait until you've got more money, until there's all these conditions that we put. It's like, oh, but if I had more time, if I had more money, if the weather was nicer. Like, there's all these reasons, there's all these conditions, right?
those conditions hinder you from your progress.
So it's part of like stepping into that image of yourself. Maybe you're not quite there yet. Maybe you haven't lost the weight, or you haven't done these things yet.
I think that
but you're embodying it.
the vision board comes with time. I think people are, like I said, we're a society of instant gratification. We want it now and then. People don't want to put in the time or effort to achieve that. They try it for a day, they try it for a week, it's not working for me, and then bang, they fall back into that vicious cycle again of, you know what I mean? And I think it's the true people that are able to stick to a plan like this and persevere that end up making it and end up better in life. They say half the entrepreneurs in life that are very successful in life have fallen how many times before they made it, and the difference between them and somebody else is they were able to get back up. It was just a hiccup, you know what I mean? It's a hiccup in life that that's not going to bring me down. That's going to push me forward.
Yeah, and there's a learning, there's a lesson in that. It's like, okay, what's the takeaway from this? So I guess that's kind of the life side of things. And then finally, here's your meal plan and your shopping list.
Perfect.
For the next 30 days.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, we don't focus on any specific diet or label. If you're plant-based, if you eat, there's no real rules in terms of you have to only eat vegetables to be healthy. It's basically, here's the guide, it's all whole foods. You can pick what you like. We're gonna eliminate some of the starches and some fruit, not entirely, but then you can start to bring that back we call it a 21-day elimination, where we just want to get rid of some of the allergenic foods, the foods that cause a lot of inflammation in the body. Okay, and this is going to support things like liver detoxification. I would also recommend doing a functional medicine liver detox.
So would that be on our next podcast? We could.
Yeah, so I would give you kind of more of the supplement protocol. I would say within the first 30 days, because that's going to get you those quick wins. That's what you're going to see the most results fast in the liver detox, and get on some supplements.
Well, I got all the supplements here. We just got
we got to shop your store.
We got to shop my store. Anyways, thanks for tuning in to the Health Shoppe Niagara, located here at the Health Shoppe Niagara at White Oaks. I got some homework I got to do to achieve my why. I know what my why is, but now it's achieving it. Yeah. And thanks to Steph, my team member here, for bringing this to my attention, and look forward to working with this. And our next podcast, we'll see how the progression starts, and we'll go more in depth into my study, and then you can follow along to see the transformation as it happens.
Nice, I'm excited. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.